Pupusas family and internet strangers, Stephanie here with a new What's for Dinner video. The meals this week, again, super simple like they have been the past few weeks. This particular week, I had jury duty, and I never actually got called in at all to jury duty, but because I don't work your typical 9 to 5, every day is fairly similar kind of job, that meant every single morning I was finding out day of what time I needed to be to work, how late I was going to be working. So the meals this week, yeah, they were easy, but they were also tasty. So let's get right into it.
First up is some slow cooker barbecue chicken. This was a last minute decision. I knew I had a little bit of barbecue sauce to use up, and I had chicken in the freezer, and I had no idea what I was going to make for dinner this night. So, right as I was about to head out to work in the morning, I realized, you know what? I have 3 minutes. I can put together barbecue chicken in the slow cooker. So I took it out and grabbed a frozen piece of chicken. Now, normally I only cook chicken in the slow cooker when I am home for the day because it does not take 8 hours or 10 hours to cook. Usually it's done pretty quickly in only a few hours, but I decided I was going to give it a try since it was frozen. I thought it'll probably be okay. And luckily it was. It did not get too overdone. So this turned out well. Literally all I did was put barbecue sauce on the chicken. And I did add a little bit of water in there because I could hear it sizzling a bit, but just a smidge. And then when I got home, this is what it looked like. And I was able to shred it up, and it turned out to not be too chewy. You know, sometimes when you make chicken in the slow cooker and you leave it in too long and it's really chewy, I think part of why it did stay so good is because I didn't shred it and then keep it going in the slow cooker, which is a mistake I have made before, is to shred it and then let it keep cooking. Once I pulled it out after it was shredded, I drained excess liquid off, and then I added the rest of my barbecue sauce in. So I was trying to get every last bit of barbecue sauce out of this container. So I was trying to get as much out as I could, and then I added a little bit of water to it, and then I was able to get the rest out. So I just had a little bit extra barbecue sauce in here. But then once I had this all mixed in, I decided to do a sandwich with this because I did have some sandwich bread left over from some of the sandwiches that I think I showed in last week's video. At this point, I don't remember what has been in what video, but I think I had a French dip in last week's video. So I still had those rolls. I had some of this campfire sauce since I was out of barbecue at this point, but I still wanted a little bit of extra sauce on here. I just spread a little bit of that campfire sauce that I had picked up at Walmart, the Red Robin brand, all over my roll here. And then to that, I added my chicken back in, and then I added some cheese to this and some little crispy onions because I thought those would add a nice little crunch to this. And I was right, the texture of this sandwich was so good. Barbecue chicken can be so easy in the slow cooker. Literally just barbecue sauce and chicken. That's all it took. But this did end up being a really flavorful sandwich. And then I added it into the air fryer just until the cheese was nice and melty on top. And then I served this alongside the last of my potato salad, which was in my succulent summer sides recipe video, and some corn on the cob that I made in the Instant Pot. The next night, I had the rest of the chicken because that first sandwich only took up half. And then I wanted some veggies to go along with this. So I had some bell peppers and cucumbers chopped up. To that, I added a little bit of onion powder because I didn't have any onions that I could chop up at that point. I added some pepper to this, ground pepper, and then the Aldi version of the Olive Garden Italian dressing, and that's it. This is such an easy side over the summer to just have veggies in Italian dressing. So good. This is similar to what I did when I made a pasta salad out of this, but just the veggie portion of it. So I had that alongside my same exact sandwich as I had had the night before, plus some baked beans. And then pupusas. I had pupusas after this. So I bought these from Costco. I had tried them as a sample and they were so good. I really enjoyed these. They are so easy to cook up in the air fryer. So I followed the package directions. And if you're not familiar with pupusas, they are kind of like a corn masa griddle cake type thing, except they are stuffed. So these are bean and cheese ones. You can also get them some places with chicken or different meats. And it usually has a slaw that goes on it, but I did not want to be making a slaw, so I went with a little bit of the Taco Bell mild sauce, a little bit of shredded lettuce, and some salsa on top. Kept it really, really simple, but so tasty. And this did help me to not get Taco Bell at all this week, which was a feat. I like getting Taco Bell every week, but at this point, as I'm recording this voiceover, I think I have made it 2 full weeks without Taco Bell. That's an achievement, y'all. It won't last much longer than this, though. Had that with some chips and salsa, and it was delicious. The next night, I had stuff in the air fryer. At this point in the week, I was so over the checking to see if I had to report to jury duty every night and not knowing what shift I was going to have the next day. So when I got home this particular night, I was like, I just want to throw stuff in the air fryer. So that is exactly what I did. The only preparation that went into this meal at all was seasoning up some asparagus, which I did with olive oil and some barbecue seasoning. This is the Kinder's barbecue seasoning. I just had it in one of my seasoning containers so that it matched all of the rest of my seasonings. So once I had that seasoned and I got that all rubbed in, I just threw it in the air fryer alongside some onion rings, which were in this week's grocery haul. It was the Red Robin onion rings, and then some of those Just Bare chicken chunks that I have been loving from Costco. I think at this point I'm almost running out of those, but they are such an easy, quick meal. And then I had this with some of that campfire sauce. This next night was a turkey sandwich, and this was a using stuff up out of the fridge kind of night. This was the last of the deli rolls that I had. This is the last of the Swiss cheese that I had in my refrigerator. I had picked up some turkey from Walmart that I wanted to use for this last roll. And y'all, deli meat is one thing that I really have not been buying lately. It's just so expensive. And then I had this maple bacon onion jam, and it is so tasty. And this combination of that jam, along with the turkey and the Swiss, and then once I had all of this combined, I threw it in the air fryer to get the cheese all nice and melty. Such a good combination. Highly recommend. I love having turkey with something sweet. My intention was turkey and cranberry sauce, but I realized that my cranberry sauce, the last bit of it I had gone bad, so I decided to just use this instead, and it was a good decision. And then I had my Campbell's pork and beans alongside this, which I absolutely love in the summer. I love dipping my barbecue chips in it. And then I also had some cut up bell peppers. And then I was so proud of myself. I only got takeout once, even though this week was absolutely crazy and I wanted takeout pretty much every night. I only actually got takeout one night. I got Yoshinoya. I got the teriyaki chicken with some steamed veggies and white rice. And then, not pictured here, I also got spring rolls on the side. But I was very proud of myself for only getting takeout once. And then the final night of the week on Saturday, I did work a little bit earlier, so I cooked this night and I wanted to try the viral TikTok spaghetti again. I have had it before, but I was disappointed in the jarred Alfredo sauce. So I've been wanting to try it with a homemade one. So I'm starting out with the meat sauce component of this. I am browning up some ground beef. I didn't have any onion on hand, so I used the dried minced onion, and that worked out fine to add a little bit of texture in there along with that onion flavor. And then I seasoned my beef with salt, pepper, Italian seasoning, garlic powder, and some red chili flakes. And then added to this, once my meat was brown, my spaghetti sauce, which I always make in large batches and keep in the freezer. So you can see I did not plan to make this. So I literally pulled it out of the freezer, put a lid on it, and let it come together with that meat, and it worked out perfectly. I love always having that on hand. And then for the homemade Alfredo sauce, I started out with butter, melted that, and then threw in a whole lot of garlic. I did not have a recipe for this Alfredo sauce. I was just kind of winging it, and it turned out really delicious. I was very happy with this Alfredo sauce, but holy cow, was that a lot of garlic. So lots of garlic, lots of flavor. And then to my garlic, once that became nice and fragrant, I had half a block of cream cheese that I needed to use up. So I just threw in half a block of cream cheese that was left over. The other half of this was in the pineapple pie that I showed a few weeks ago. So I wanted to use up this second half of the block. And then once that was all melted, or mostly melted, it was still a little chunky. That stuff does not like to melt. I started adding half and half, which normally I don't have on hand. Normally I only have heavy cream or milk, but since I had half and half, decided to use that in this. And again, was not measuring, was just kind of pouring it until it looked like about the amount of sauce I wanted for the amount of pasta that I made. And I did use up the last of my Bonza chickpea rotini. So at this point, I am out of pasta and I'm going to need to stock back up, but I do enjoy that Bonza chickpea rotini. So once I got all of this coming together, I did season my Alfredo sauce. So I seasoned it with some salt, pepper, a little bit of onion powder, and then some Italian seasoning went into this as well. Then I grabbed a whisk and started whisking all of this up together. And once it was all well combined, to thicken this up and give it even more flavor, I added in some Parmesan cheese to this. And again, didn't measure, just kind of threw in Parmesan cheese until my heart told me to stop throwing in Parmesan cheese. So I whisked all of that together until my Parmesan was fully melted and my sauce started to thicken up but not boil. So I let it simmer for just a few minutes, and then after it simmered a little bit, I added in that chickpea rotini. And then once all of that rotini is added in, I'm going to mix it all up and get it well combined. I want every nook and cranny of that rotini to be in here. Now, you don't have to use the chickpea rotini. You can use regular rotini. You can use spaghetti. Penne pasta would be good with this. Literally, whatever pasta you have on hand or you prefer would work so well in this dish. And if you haven't tried this viral TikTok pasta, highly recommend. This is one of my favorite things to come off of social media. And then once all of that is combined, I'm going to add that meat sauce right on top, and then you don't mix it at this point. You just let that sit right on top. So some of it seeps down into the pasta, but a lot of it just stays right on top, and it creates such a good little change up in flavor as you eat through this. And then topping it with some mozzarella cheese, and then also adding a little bit of Parmesan cheese on top of here as well. And then something that I don't do very often, I decided to add a little garnish to this and just added a little bit of parsley to the top of this for a little pop of color right there. Presentation is not my strong suit, but sometimes I put in the effort. And the effort was well worth it. Look at how good that looks. And it tasted amazing. I didn't feel like having a veggie this night. That was my dinner.
Thank you so much for watching. I hope y'all enjoyed this video, and if you did, I hope you give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already done so. Thanks for watching.